So
Hmm.
it's a lot.
I know. Now, I was watching a lot of the girls. I watched a couple of the videos in Los Angeles where the girls, where they have a sort of a separate area there in at LA jail or whatever it is there for the trans women and the people who are sort of marginalized in whatever sense. Um, um, and I noticed that a lot of the girls were more vulnerable in prison than they were when they were out of prison. Because
Yeah,
now,
that's mainly because like if let's say if you're on the street and you go to certain things, you find yourself in a certain situation. If you don't feel comfortable, or maybe that's just not the place for you, you have the choice to get up and leave. If you face certain problems and situations in prison, you can't like just get up and walk out of the prison. You have to deal with it.
mhm. Now, did you have a boyfriend in prison?
Uh, there were. I have to be honest. There were people. I'm a female at heart. I'm female
Hmm.
inside and out. So I mean, I was there for 3 years. So there were men that I found myself attracted to, but because of the stance that the warden had specifically for me. Like I said, they had another transgender. She's been there for like 14, 15 years, but she hasn't had my enhancements. So I guess
Hmm.
I was kind of like a special case, I would say. So she was really
Hmm.
like into me, and she had the fear of God in them. Like no one is to follow. It was she didn't really approve of me talking to other homosexuals, mate. It
Hmm.
didn't really get me close. And that would kind of bug me because, like I said, I'm human. I'm there for 3 years. You didn't expect me. You can't expect me not to talk to anybody. And
Hmm.
I had that. Honestly, I had that mindset when I first got there. I'm like, oh, I'm in this with all these men. I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm going to stay to myself. That's impossible. You
Hmm.
can't say that. So, unfortunately, no, I didn't have a boyfriend because of the one, but there were guys that I was like, and I will conversate with them. But if they like sit around me for a little too long, or if like the guards would notice that maybe we are getting a little bit too comfortable talking to each other. They were like, "Oh no, you've been there long enough. You have to leave." So I was like kind of off limits. And that would kind of
Hmm.
bother me. I mean, it's not that I was trying to do something illegal or anything sexual with them. It was just a conversation, and it kind of bothered me because I'm like, you're making me feel like if something's wrong with me, like if I'm incapable of having conversation. I'm sitting here. We could be talking about anything, music or television, or maybe something about their families, and you just interrupt the conversation, like, no, you can't talk, get over there, as if I'm an alien or something. But like a couple of yards away, there was like a homosexual
Hmm.
talking to a
Now,
guy, and maybe it's a known fact that they're in a relationship and they're talking and they're close together, but you're not telling them anything, but you're telling me that I can't like talk to some.
mm, well,
It was
I mean, relationships in prison probably could be something that would create a real problem
I
for
think it will.
the
And then at the
warden.
same time, speaking from experience, if just speaking from experience in being inside the prison, for those who choose to live an alternative lifestyle. If it's a known fact that you're in a relationship with someone and that someone has a certain level of respect in the prison, it kind of
Hmm.
keeps everyone else from I'm not going to bother her because that person like is conversating with such and such, and it kind of keeps everyone else away. Versus if
Hmm.
you're there by yourself, you don't have anyone to say, well, this is my friend, we're together, like back off or whatever. So there's no one there to like protect you or, so
Okay.
it
Now,
has,
okay, I'm going to ask you this. Now, the girl you say that was in there for 14 years, what was she in there for? That's a
I'm not,
long time.
yeah, I'm not sure. I think it was, maybe a sex offense or something involving a minor. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Now, were you ever involved with this other trans woman? Were
We
you ever
talk
intimate?
like, during the daytime when like everyone can come outside of their dorms.
Hmm.
We would talk and have a little girly time. I would tell her certain things that were going on out in the world. Because she's been gone for like 14 years, telling her like the different changes in the world. And um, I work as a professional female impersonator, so I travel all around the United States performing and entertaining. So there were certain people that maybe she know of and haven't seen in a long time, and we were asked about, do you know everyone, like you said, Tanisha Cassadine. Tanisha
Yeah.
Cassadine is famous. She was like, do you know Katisha? I had to inform her that Tanisha Cassadine was no longer here with us. So yeah, we had times where we were able to sit and talk.
Oh, okay. It's wonderful. You put a little bit of you put a little bit of enlightenment in me. You educated me a lot. I mean, I could ask a billion questions about prison, but I'm sure our audience wants to hear this one particular question because I think that it's relevant. Now, as an adult and consenting adult, were you ever able to have sex in prison?
I personally was not. But of course, I've seen it, that they were having sex in prison. Because the way they were watching me, they weren't like watching everyone else. Certain else way to get away with certain things, like go in the bathroom or whatever. But I personally, when it was time for me to go in the bathroom and shower, they would shut it down. No one was to be allowed in the bathroom. But usually, like those who are involved in relationships, the shower is like an open area. It's like 8-9 shower heads. So like the guys get in there at one time. But if it's someone in a relationship, it's like usually those two. So it's like,
okay.
And they would have certain areas that weren't, where the cameras could see you, where they would like go and, do certain things.
Oh, okay. Now, I want to say, Paula, it was great talking to you. You enlightened me on a lot of things today. Now, in closing, what's happening with you now in the pandemic and you going back to working in the shows?
Well, I also have a part-time job now. I'm working in a pizza parlor. I'm a prep cook. But yeah.
Girls got to do what
they
she's
have
got
something
to do.
legal on the side, yeah. But like as far as the shows and the pageant, right now in New Orleans, it's not fully shut down, but you have to present a vaccination card or what have you, and of course you're back to wearing your mask or whatever. But it's still, but I think the crowd hasn't. A lot of people are in fear of like being out, so the crowd isn't what usually is. So if the crowd isn't there, the tips really isn't there, and
and it's
so
the
like
excitement
we're
and all
holding
that.
on. We're holding on.
I know drag is this virtual thing. They trust me when I first started doing.
It's crazy. Not to cut you off, but even now, I'm preparing to compete in a pageant, which is in Memphis in February. But I don't even know if I should go ahead and continue with my preparations because of the way things is going with COVID. I don't know if it's going to be another shutdown and the pageant will be postponed or put off because they haven't had the pageant in like 3 years.
I know it's very strange doing these shows in front of these cameras. Huh?
Yeah, I have to correct myself. They haven't had the pageant in going on 2 years.
Oh.
Because of the pandemic.
It's very strange sitting in front of a camera and trying to sell something that audience going
There's
up.
There's no crowd you can interact with. You can feed off the audience because it's on camera.
Yeah, and you're sitting here talking to the camera like it's somebody's gonna reach back and say something. It's quite hilarious. And for our pride here, I did like about 12 shows. After about the 6th one, I got used to being in front of the camera and realizing that there's 100 people on this screen or more watching this show, and they're like this here, and I'm like, this is not the tea.
Weird, right?
And you missed that accolade, like you say, the tips and the fact
like if you're an entertainer, you feed off the energy from the crowd.
And we missed that, and hopefully we'll get back to that. But I'm gonna say this to you, Paula. Me and you, and a lot of the other entertainers, we are lucky that we had our times before. Yeah. We're lucky, and we're lucky that we're still here. Because in the next 10 to 12 years, the kids are gonna have to try to get over all of this.
Yeah.
That meaning that they will never experience the drag like we know it to really be.
Yeah.
And that is hopefully the new order or the millennials or whatever they're calling these kids now. Hopefully they will do something with whatever this is.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you today for coming on. You explained a lot to us, Miss Paula from
Thank
New
you for having me.
a fabulous trans woman who had certain circumstances throughout her life that I thought we should talk about: jail, family, inclusion, the mere fact of what needs to change and where she is now and what she's doing. And sometimes, Paula, working in the pizza parlor is not all bad. I do something 3 days a week now. The government gave me a little job 3 days a week. It's an official kind of thing, so I can't talk about it much, but I have to walk around. But for 3 days a week, and just sort of, you know how it is, keep my eye abreast of what's going on, and then type back to them at night. You know what I mean? So I have to work. So I'm blessed that I even have that little part-time job from them. It's a contract thing for like 7 months, but at least I know I have income coming in.
Nobody but God.
That's right. So I just want to say thank you, Paula Mosley from New Orleans.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thank you to Paula Mosley today. She enlightened us a lot about what trans women go through on a day-to-day basis, and sometimes what trans women have to resort to sort of make a living. And sometimes we make bad decisions, or decisions we think that will benefit us or help us along, or sometimes things that are just necessary because we need to survive regardless, and we think about the consequences afterwards. So Paula enlightened us a lot today about her journey as a trans woman in the prison system, how she's been treated, around the world, and in life in general, with a supportive family, that you can do anything. And with the blessings of God and supporters and these changing times, she's blessed. So I just want to say thank you to Paula Mosley. And on that note, we're going to say good night to everybody out there. Thank you guys so much for supporting Pronoun TV and the Stephanie Stevens Show Season 2. It's going to be exciting. And thank you, Paula.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
No.